AJ's journey. It's been a while. I've missed you. Have you missed me? Oh, Lord. The virtual world is taking over, isn't it? Anyway, I'm active on the SL grid. I really don't use this avatar for anything but AJ's journey. So if you're looking up this avatar, it's an alt. I have a main. But don't judge me for that. The intention of these is to maybe help you out or help you relate or maybe relate. You decide what it helps you with or not. Leave comments, suggestions. Keep them uplifting, please. I thank you for that. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. You know the drill. I try to blend things like Second Life does affect your real life, and your real life does affect your Second Life. If you're a regular logger inner to Second Life, regular user, meaning you log in, 3-4 times at least a week and spend several hours at a time in Second Life. You may be a creator, you may be a land. Well, I'm sort of a land whore. I like Sims. Some people prefer mainland, that type of thing. So I do talk about land and how it relates to real life. I've always said, be careful what you pretend in Second Life because it does bleed over into your thought process, your dynamic into real life, and vice versa on that. Okay. I run into, oh my gosh, have you had weeks that you felt like you did nothing but run into brick walls or roadblocks? Well, yeah, I've been, and I usually pull back and hide like a hermit for a while when I run across those things and recoup. I'm an introvert. Probably quite a few people in Second Life are introverts. Having said that, oh, well, most of you know a little bit about my real life because the intention, is to say, hey, this is how it affects my SL and vice versa. One of the outstanding things you'll notice about people, you might come into SL with a prude mentality on your morals and everything. And if you're here, 2-3 years, is going to deteriorate those and you're going to change your perspective. Good, bad, right, wrong, whatever. And some people come in here well, I don't know how to say it, but without appearing judgmental, but I guess I am, aren't we all? We all have our vision of what's right and wrong and everything in between. But some people come in here with the idea of being a slut or a man whore, so to speak, and they think they're just going to go back to their little real life high pious position or whatever. It's not going to happen. They're going to bleed back and forth, and who you are is going to come out. Nice thing about Second Life is you can be more in control. If you don't like what's going on, for example, you can just log out and not show up for a while and recoup. Things like that. Well, my obstacles this week, and yeah, it'll cover real life. And if you hang in there long enough, you'll see how it relates to Second Life. I've been dealing with 3 options. Separate from real life, X, divorce, or just shine it on and do whatever I want to do anyway. The thing of it is, I'm not going to remarry. And yes, I'm an older person. I haven't seen my teenage years for quite some time. Don't judge. We all have a tendency to put people in boxes. I'm sorry, we just do. You have an idea of what a teenager is going to be like, a person in their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. Some people say, I'm not going to mess around with old people. I'm not going to mess around with the teenagers. That kind of thing. Well, there you go. But anyway, I've been dealing with situation for years, and I'm empathetic, and that's gotten me in trouble over the years because helping people that, quite frankly, really don't deserve to be helped, because I think of help as trying to give somebody a hand up until they can do it on their own. We all hit glitches in life, but some people just like being where they're at, and a hand up ends up just pulling you down with them. And that's difficult. Okay. I've only had one real life relationship my whole life. Some people find that hard to believe, but it's true. Wasn't a very good situation. I never lived out on my own. I left my parents' house to get married. And looking back, I was too young, too immature, and shouldn't have done it that way. Hindsight is a 20/20, as they say. Anyway, what I've been dealing with now is my ex is living with me and paying rent. We've always kept our finances separate for years now. I just learned my lesson over the years that, hey, you do your bank accounts, I do my bank accounts, property, same way, everything. So things that are mine are in my name, things that are his are in his name. Granted, in the past, I've forked over money to him and he's purchased something, put it in his name, and I just considered, oh, hell, it's a gift. What can I do about it? I've accepted that. I came into the marriage thinking, oh, somebody's going to actually care for me, take care of me. Well, that's never happened. I've never been one of those that found a sugar daddy. Nice concept. Hasn't happened. It's not going to at this point. At the same time, somebody needs to pay their own bills, and I don't want to end up paying somebody else's bills at this point in my life. I don't mind giving gifts or whatever, but if I'm going to have to subsidize you all the time, it's not going to happen. So I try to be frugal about things. I don't want to spend a hell of a lot of money on divorce or whatever, and my ex is pretty much, because of his Christian background stuff, we're married, he doesn't want a divorce, blah, blah, blah. So I thought the lesser of the evils would be separation. I don't want to fork over a bunch of money for a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Things should be simple. There are no kids involved. I've got things in my name. He's got things in his name. We don't have a joint checking account, that type of thing. But he has threatened me in the past that I have a right to that property, blah, blah, blah. Well, currently he pays me rent and stays here. And he's got a heck of a deal because rent is not cheap elsewhere. But the concept was, hey, pay me X dollars a month. That helps with your expenses because, person living someplace, it costs money for your electric usage and etc. And keep the place mowed. I have a sizable property. He's done that, but oh my gosh, he's tried to control me at the same time because he keeps saying, we're married, even though he does what he wants, but I'm not supposed to do what I want. So, separation. I thought, okay, no biggie. I will check AI and Copilot, do some research, get the forms turned into the courthouse, and start the process. Because it will be the cheapest way. If I go to a lawyer, it's going to cost like 6 times more if they do the paperwork, if they file it, blah, blah, blah. And I don't see any problem other than I can't communicate with the man. If I say one thing, he says another, that type of thing. So I go into the courthouse with my forms, bottom line. The court clerk says, well, you've got to go on this website that has the forms. We only accept forms from this website. There's only divorce forms, not separation. And so I thought, okay, I'll take a look. So I ask AI, what can I do? What can I do? AI says, well, a court clerk absolutely has to take your form if it's formatted like I told you and structured that way, and it was. So she is misinformed. However, you can use their packet. You have that choice. You'll have to alter the divorce form or add to it another page. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So, well, I look at it. You can't edit the form. It's structured. You can add your name and stuff and your spouse's name, whatever, and that, but you can't really edit the form, so you're in trouble there, the way I look at it. So I go back to AI. I said, this is complicated. I mean, can't edit the form. It's not the form I want. I have a problem with the saying divorce. Anyway, AI's telling me, edit it this way. I can't edit the form. It's not allowed. So the option is to try to reword my form that I already tried to turn in that AI helped me with. Use the divorce form and add a paper with it and hope they freaking understand what the heck's going on, this separation. Or just shine it on, live my life. The thing of it is, with him being so hyper-Christian, it makes me feel, I don't know, guilty and dirty, if you will. And he's always had a way of making me feel that way, even though he's living like he wants to. I'm not supposed to live like I want to. It's gotten to the point, how long are you gone? Where are you at? Who are you with? Blah, blah, blah. If a package comes, it's got my name on it. Well, he hangs around to see what the package is. That kind of thing. And I'm thinking, separation order will at least give some credence to the fact I have a right to live my own life. And he doesn't have a right to be demanding about one set of morals and friends and stuff. In other words, I have to seek his approval for friendships. Well, anyway, things seemed all right until there was another male in the picture. He had another female in his picture, so I'm thinking, no big deal. I avoided relationships in the past. I just did. It's a mess. So, if I don't get a separation, I have this mindset of big guilt trip. I have no right to do the things I do because I'm still married. Being separated, I'm still married, but it gives me freedom, and it acknowledges that he has no right to determine what I do, where I do. I'm not getting remarried. I'm not doing this to be a big partier, so I don't see the problem. But roadblocks. What do I do? Go ahead, pursue it. Go get a lawyer and spend lots of money, which I don't want to do. Leave it be. Make him spend the money if you don't like the way I'm living for separation or divorce. What do? You have comments, suggestions, whatever. And I'm, kind of mentally a slave to him if you get right down to it over the years. And it's been years and years. Now, with SL, oh my gosh, they've been having voice issues like crazy. What's up with this? And it seems like roadblocks. You think you're on a call with somebody and it drops. You think you're talking to somebody, and all of a sudden the voice indicator disappears. And you realize you're talking to yourself. Literally. What's going on? I mean, people would stay in SL. A lot of times you come to SL and you spend most of your time trying to figure out why your experience is different this time than it was, 2 days ago, and everything worked smoothly. So, do you have these problems? Or is it just me? Maybe I've got a horrific week in store. But I do think they need to fix some glitches. One thing they did right is I do own a sim, and the price dropped on it. And I looked at my bill and I thought, it's lower. What's up? Then I did some digging and realized they lowered the sim fee a little bit. Every little bit helps. That makes a difference for what I can offer rentals or lease or for sale portions of the sim, whatever you want to call it. That makes it easier for me. I'm not a big time real estate person in SL by any stretch of the imagination, but I like to be able to defray my costs by offering parcels on the place and still having a sim. So that's a good thing. Now, one thing they need to do that they haven't listened to me. So chime in. What do you think? Homesteads. In order to have a homestead, you had to own a sim. The homestead is half the price, basically the monthly fee, of a full sim. Currently, my full sim is $30,000 prim. Usually, by default, they're $20,000 prim. A homestead, you only get $5,000 prim. So, to me, they need to up it to $10,000. They say, you can lease or, offer rentals on a homestead. But in reality, you can't, because you can't offer enough prim for the cost per prim. It's going to be all out of whack. You get my drift. If you want to break even, so to speak, with what you're paying for it every month and what people expect to pay for prim. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. So, if you have issues with Second Life, that something's bugging you specifically, maybe it's the way property values are, or certain real estate agents in SL handle their business, you can go premium account and get so much land and so many perks. That's really pricey. If I'm not mistaken, they've raised the price. The top of the line premium choice. They have 3. So, what do you think? Are you happy living in a Linden home? Or do you have a yearning for a little piece of the action of land you feel like you can call your own despite the weekly or monthly fee? All right, I'm out of here. I appreciate your feedback, appreciate your love, appreciate your hugs. Come see me in Second Life if you like. Look me up. I'm out of here. Have a great one.